Back in the summer of 2003, the UN embassy in Iraq was bombed and the ambassador was killed in that attack. You have information coming from the people who lived in that area that's different from what we've heard. Can you please describe what they're talking about?
Yes, this is a very significant event and an important matter that I would wish to offer as more evidence of war crimes of this administration against Iraq and the international community. What I found out on my last visit to Iraq of June and July 2004, my cousin told me as we were going to his house, he pointed out the building of the United Nations to me. He said, do you know Sergio de Mello? I said, yes, I know of him. He was the United Nations envoy sent by Kofi Annan to Iraq shortly after the investigation to the invasion to make an evaluation of the situation there in Iraq. Sergio de Mello is into nation building, and he had visited all places of Iraq and talked to all kinds of leaders, religious leaders, political leaders, tribal leaders. He talked to the man on the street, the oil workers, the unemployed, everybody. And he came back and reported to the United Nations Security Council. So among his report, among the items on his report was that the occupation forces must announce a withdrawal schedule to obtain security in Iraq. That did not sit well with this administration because they have no intention of withdrawing. So when he returned to Iraq, my cousin was explaining to me what happened. He said that he was on his way back to his father's house, which is the general area of where the United Nations building is. It's basically a main highway that tees off where you go to the United Nations building, and you can't go anywhere else. I mean, there are no residential or commercial places near the United Nations building. So the whole area was secured by American forces a day before. They came in the evening time and cut off the main highway, and he explained that it was very difficult for him to get to his father's house because he had to reroute, and so many other people also had to reroute. They could not use the highway. So they sealed off a radius of approximately 5 miles at the time, and no one could get in unless with their say-so, not even a cat or a dog or a donkey or anything, let alone a human being. And that was possible at the time because it was in the early days of the occupation. Right now, I'm not sure it will be possible. Now there's just too much resistance everywhere. In Baghdad and all over Iraq. So the next morning when Sergio de Mello had a meeting, a truck full of explosives was placed under his office and detonated, killing him and a number of other people. Also, there are some engineer reports that show evidence of a couple of missiles fired at Sergio de Mello's office. So to Iraqis, especially those living in Baghdad, it's common knowledge that the Americans have killed Sergio de Mello in cold blood, and that the Americans will stop at nothing to further their goals. And it's very ironic that nobody even knows about it in America, or any kind of investigation has been done by the United Nations. Finally, the United Nations later announced that the occupation, or came up with a resolution that said or stated that the occupation forces can remain in Iraq until security is obtained. That means never, but what it means more, it's offering legitimacy to an illegal occupation. It cannot be this idea, well, you went in wrong and against international law, but now since you're there, you might as well stay until things straightened out. No, the intentions were wrong in the beginning, and it was illegal in the beginning, and to offer legitimacy to an occupation is also wrong. And we can see what is going on. It's just going from bad to worse, and more and more and more people getting killed. So this is a way to destroy international law and international institutions by murder and death. And even at the time, the Red Cross withdrew from Iraq, and a lot of NGOs got out of Iraq. It was a big clear out, the Iraqis and the Americans with overwhelming force. But Iraqis now and before and forever will always know that the force is with God and with what's right. Iraq is the land of Abraham and the prophets, and these people are believers, and it's in their daily life, and it's very obvious, who's right and who's wrong. And if the shoe was on the other foot, if the French or the Germans or anyone comes here and says, hey, we are here to get rid of George Bush, we don't like him, I'm sure people will resist, even those who hate George Bush. I mean, it is their country. It is not George Bush's country. And Iraq is for Iraqis. It's not Saddam's Iraq. It's Iraqis' Iraq. It always has been. So, again, this administration and whoever with them are basically fighting a losing battle, because if it's about wills, the Iraqi will never break. It might bend. Iraq is like a palm tree. It'll bend, but it'll never break. It always has been like that. Look at the history. Iraq was there in the beginning when Adam came to earth. He came to Iraq. The first fresh waters were Tigris and Euphrates. And you can bet it will be there in the end. So why are they doing this?